Pleasant good night to everyone. I'll attempt to redeliver a speech that was done by Jon Stewart to the graduating class of William and Mary in 2004. This speech was re-edited by David Kucho, because as you know, Jon Stewart is a very witty character, and he spared no attempt in delivering this speech at William and Mary. And so I'll attempt to emulate his wittiness as I do this presentation. Thank you, Mr. President. My best to the choir. Wonderful singing, I may say. Whenever I hear this song, it reminds me of nothing. And I know that there were some parents here who were concerned about my speech here tonight. And I want to assure you that the language that you will hear tonight is nothing that is uncommon, let's say at a Tourette's convention, a dock workers meeting, or a profanity seminar. Rest assured. I am honored to be here tonight to receive this honorary doctorate. And when I think back of the persons preceding me, from Benjamin Franklin to Queen Noor of Jordan, I can't help but wonder, what has happened to this place? I mean, seriously, as an alumnus, I am happy to receive it. As an individual, however, I want to say that I believe we can do better, and I believe we should. But it has always been a dream of mine to receive a doctorate. And to know that tonight, without putting in any work, labor whatsoever, I will. I find it mighty gratifying. Thank you very much. I'm sure my fellow doctoral graduates who've toiled in years of academia, sinking in debt, God knows sacrificing how many things, will join in congratulating me here tonight. I thank you. But today isn't about how my presence here devalues this fine institution. It is about you, the graduates. And I am honored to be here to congratulate you today. Because today is the day you enter into the real world. And there's not quite much of a difference between the real world and here. The biggest difference, however, is that you will now be paying for things. The real world, it is not surrounded by a 3-foot brick wall. The real world is not a restoration. And if you should be in the real world, then you see people trying to make bricks out of straw and mud. These people are not colonial reenactors. These people are poor. Help them. And one more thing. There's not so much candlelighting in the real world as here. Ever since I've been here, I've been trying to figure out what is the problem with this campus and candlelighting. Because I wish it would stop. I mean, come on, people. We only have so much wax. Anyway, I wanted to bring this up to you about the real world earlier. But I guess now is as good a time as any. And I really don't know how to put it. So I guess I'll just be blunt. I think we broke it. Sorry. I know we were supposed to bequeath the next generation with a world that was much better than us. But I'm sorry. I guess somewhere between the quick rush of gold internet profits and endless empire, I think we heard somewhat of a pinging noise. And then you know what? The damn thing just died on us. But here's the good news. You fix this thing, and I believe you can. If you fix this thing, you are the next greatest generation. And even if you don't, I don't think you'll have much problem in surpassing our generation. If you get your picture taken next to a naked guy pile of enemy prisoners, and you do not show the thumbs up, you've outdid us. We declared war on terror. We declared war on terror? Terror is not even a country. So good luck. I hope when you defeat it, we'll take on the bastard anyway. But obviously, that's the world. What about your lives? What piece of wisdom can I impart to you that would ease the transition from college back to your parents' basement? And so I think I'll tell you a little bit about myself when I was here. When I was in William and Mary 20 years ago, and if you were here the time I was here, and you found out that I would be the one delivering this speech 20 years later, I think most of you would not be here. And most of you would probably be somewhat very angry. In 1980, I was but 17 years old. When I moved to William and Mary, my hall was in the basement of Yates, which combined the cheerfulness of a bomb shelter with the prison-like comfort of the group shower. As a freshman, I was quite a catch. Less than 5 feet tall, yet my head is the same size as it is now. It wasn't so much of a head. I believe it was more like a container for a head. In fact, I believe I looked more like a peanut character. And you know, peanut character always had terrible acne. But what I lacked for in looks, I made up for with a repugnant personality. In 1981, I lost my virginity, only to gain it back again on appeal in 1983. You could say that my one saving grace was academics where I excelled, but I did not. And yet now I live in the rarefied air of mega stardom, hanging out with a cast of friends, enjoying Hollywood Urgis and Kabbalah brunches. And so I knew that the choice I made in college worked out for me. But don't be misled. At that time, I didn't. And I don't think that this choice would work for you, because obviously you're not very funny. You see, college is not necessarily predictive of your future success. Well, then if that's the case, how do you choose the path that's right for you, the path that would give you the desired result? And the honest answer is, you won't. And accepting that greatly eases the anxiety of your life experience. College is something you complete. Life is simply something you must experience. So don't worry about your grade or the results of success, because success is defined in a myriad of ways, and you will find it. When people would no longer be grading you, you would find it by your own internal sense of decency. And so I imagine after going through such a strong program as William and Mary, your internal sense of decency would be very high. Although I'm sure some of you downloading illegal porn, I'm sorry, that's another story in itself. But what I mean to say is, love what you do. Get good at it, because competence is a very rare commodity in this day and age. And let the chips fall where they may. And the last thing I want to address is the idea that somehow this new generation is not prepared for the sacrifice and tenacity that will be needed in the difficult times ahead. I want to say to you, I have not found you, this generation, to be apathetic. Neither have I found you to be selfish. Neither have I found you to be cynical. I believe that you are as great and as decent as any good person I have met. And you are prepared. And the other thing that I want to say is, when I made reference to the world being broke, I was just being facetious. Because every generation has their challenges. And things can change rapidly. And life gets better in an instant. I was in New York on 9/11 when the Twin Towers fell. And I was somewhat in a daze because I thought the world has ended. The world had just come to an end. And so there I was, walking around, losing a sense of who I was. And I remember Mayor Giuliani saying to the people of New York, you've got to come back. You've got to show them that things can be better than the way they were. And surprisingly, I was leaving my building, and on my stoop appeared this guy, bent over, in deep meditation, deep concentration. And there I was within myself. And as I moved closer to the guy, I realized he wasn't doing none of that. The damn guy was playing with himself. And then I said to myself, you know what? Things are going to get better. We are going to win this thing. So thank you. Congratulations, and God bless you. You have a wonderful good night.